The early morning sun filtered through the tall pine trees as Mason sat on the porch of his new hunting lodge, a steaming cup of coffee warming his hands. Deep in the woods, the stillness was absolute. Birds chirped lazily, and the occasional rustle of leaves hinted at wildlife moving nearby. It was everything Mason had dreamed of: peace, solitude, an escape from the chaos of the city. He had cashed out what little he had left and bought this place to get away from it all. The lodge wasn't just a house site, was a last chance at breathing again. But peace, as Mason would soon find out, never lasted long. The tranquility shattered when a sleek, black sedan rolled up the gravel driveway, its presence abrupt and invasive. Mason stiffened. No one should be here. The nearest town was 15 miles away, and even the locals knew better than to venture out this far unless it was urgent. The car door flung open and out stepped a woman, polished, dressed in crisp slacks and a blazer that screamed corporate, despite the fact she was now standing in the middle of the wilderness. Her blonde hair was perfectly set, and her expression carried the kind of smug confidence that made Mason's skin crawl. She marched up the steps before Mason could even stand. The knock on the door was more of a demand than a request. Mason opened it reluctantly, expecting maybe a hiker lost off the trail. "Hi, I'm Linda," she announced with a bright, falsely cheerful smile, holding out a stack of documents. "I'm here on behalf of the HOA. You're behind on your dues." Mason blinked, dumbfounded. "HOA? What HOA?" Linda didn't miss a beat. $3000, due within 30 days. If you don't pay, we'll pursue legal action. He stared at her, words failing him. "This is a hunting lodge. In the middle of nowhere. There's no HOA out here." "Oh, it's all in the paperwork," she replied, syrupy sweet. "You didn't read the fine print, did you? I'm pretty sure this place doesn't even fall under any HOA's jurisdiction," Mason said, barely holding in his frustration. Linda shrugged. "You'd better get it sorted. The HOA covers all properties in this region, and I'm the one making sure you comply." She turned with a saccharine smile, adding over her shoulder, "I'll be back in a week. Make sure the money's ready." And just like that, she climbed into her glossy sedan and disappeared down the driveway, leaving Mason holding a stack of legal-looking documents that had no business being in his hand. It didn't feel like real life. It felt like a bad prank. But when he flipped through the paperwork and saw how detailed it was, names, parcel numbers, fabricated maps, she knew this wasn't just a mistake. It was a setup. Mason's thoughts spun. He'd poured everything into this place's savings, his hopes, and now some smug bureaucrat was trying to corner him with a fake HOA scheme? No chance. He could smell the scam all over it. What really twisted the knife was the way Linda carried herself, like she owned the place already. She wasn't just delivering a message, she was delivering a threat. She wanted control. And Mason? He wasn't about to roll over. That night, he scoured every document she'd left. Nothing made sense. There were no official county stamps, no real citations, just a lot of intimidating jargon and vague threats. Then came the second knock. This time it was a man, older, in a contractor's uniform with a badge that read Hollow Pines Renovation. He looked uneasy, as if what he was about to say weighed on him. "You're not going to believe this," the man said, stepping inside without waiting. "But the HOA? They don't just want your money. They want your land." Mason's stomach dropped. "What the hell are you talking about?" "My name's Ray," the man said. "I've worked with these people. Quietly, off the books. They've been trying to buy up this whole area under the table. They use the HOA as leverage. If owners won't sell, they scare them off. Fines, fake fees, legal threats. You're just the next name on their list." "This is private property," Mason said. "They can't just take it." "They're not taking it," Ray replied grimly. "They're making people think they have no choice but to give it up." Mason paced the living room, anger rising with every step. "So what, you just came here to warn me?" Ray nodded. "You're not the first to fight them. But if you don't act fast, you could be the next to lose everything." That night, Mason barely slept. His mind was a hurricane of frustration, paranoia, and stubborn resolve. This wasn't just a battle over money, it was about standing up to something bigger. Something darker. The next few days were spent digging property records, town archives, old zoning maps. The deeper Mason looked, the more he found evidence of manipulation. Multiple land purchases under different LLCs, mysterious changes to zoning regulations, and one name that kept showing up in the shadows: Trent Rayner, a real estate mogul with a history of hostile land acquisitions. Mason wasn't a lawyer, but he had enough sense to know something was seriously wrong. Then came the anonymous call. Mason, the voice said, "You need to dig deeper. Linda's not just a rep's front for something much bigger. Start with her connections. Follow the money." The line went dead before Mason could ask any questions. So he did exactly that. In public records and digital footprints, he uncovered link after link: shell companies, campaign donations, sudden land transfers. Linda was connected to Rayner. Rayner was connected to a local politician named Senator Charles Merton. And all of them were tied to a shadowy development initiative known only as the Ascension Project. Their goal? Turn this forested area into a luxury retreat for the elite. But first, they had to clear out the locals by any means necessary. Mason kept going, building a file that connected every thread. He knew it wouldn't be enough to just know the truth, needed to expose it. And to do that, he needed help. He found it in a hacker named Cassie, a former cybersecurity analyst who'd gone rogue after her own property had been targeted by the same group. In one afternoon, Cassie cracked into Rayner's private servers. What they found was damning: backdoor payments, emails outlining eviction plans, even surveillance logs on local landowners, including Mason. "This isn't just about you," Cassie said. "They've got a list. You're just near the top." Mason's blood turned to ice. He called Ray to warn him. "You've got to get out," Ray said immediately. "I don't know how, but they know you've been digging." But Mason wasn't going anywhere. This ends now. The next step was taking the story public. Cassie connected Mason to an investigative journalist named Erica Tran. She'd been circling Rayner for years but never had the evidence to nail him. Until now. They met in a diner in the next town over. Mason slid the folder across the table. Erica opened it and her face turned pale. This is enough to burn them all down. And they would have done it right then had the door not burst open moments later. Two men in suits stepped in. One of them locked eyes with Mason. "You're making a mistake," the man said coolly. "Back off. Walk away." Mason stood slowly, face calm. "I'm not going anywhere. You don't understand who you're dealing with." "No," Mason said. "You don't." Erica got them out a back door before anything could escalate. The article ran 3 days later, plastered on every local news site. It named names. It showed documents. It detailed the corruption and greed. Mason's Lodge became the face of resistance. But the battle wasn't over. Linda returned one last time, this time with a court order and injunction to seize the property. "You really think you've won?" she hissed, shoving the document into his chest. "This is bigger than you." Mason tore the paper in half. "So am I." And with the world watching, the media shining a spotlight on every shady deal, the movement began. People fought back. Lawsuits were filed. The FBI got involved. Rayner was arrested first. Then Senator Merton. Linda disappeared. And Mason? He stayed. Because some places are worth fighting for. And some battles are just the beginning.